Laura's had me smarten up because she said I was scruffy.
No.
Yes. Have my jumper? Happy birthday, ladies and gentlemen. Got to work on time, luckily, although it did take me ages to de-ice the car, and I had to drive quite slowly because it was slippy on some roads. I tried to put the window down to buzz into the car park, and the fucking window won't go down because of a layer of ice. Anyway, go to work. Back on the grind, boys. And ladies and gentlemen, we're home. It's 4:30. The sun is still up. We're kind of in like the dusk settings. Also, the lake has frozen over. That's how bloody cold it was this morning. Luckily, we should be warming up as of now. Yeah, I think tonight it's actually much warmer. Yesterday was like snap cold, and then we got the same again Wednesday night, but tonight is like mild. Something like that, anyway. Also, wearing my jumper today. I fucking love it. Jumper is always one of those things that I've always hung my nose over. I've always really liked them. I've always really liked like the Tommy Hilfiger ones. I've always hung my nose over. This one's Fred Perry. Still like the same style, like V-neck and stuff. Tommy Hilfiger didn't do a nice grey, Laura said. And to be fair, grey is better than blue, I think. I was actually quite brave because I actually kind of asked for blue, and she beat me. She's got a better idea than I did. But yeah, so been wearing it today. It's always been something I've hung my nose over because I always think they look really smart. But I've always had a vendetta against them because I think they're like, I've got like a vendetta against baggy clothes. I always think they look quite baggy. I also don't think they go well with stuff that isn't a shirt. I only think they really look well with a shirt. I'm not sure about a polo shirt. Maybe. But probably not. But after wearing it today, I'm a huge convert. So comfortable, so toasty warm, but also not like too warm when it starts to heat up later. So yeah, big fan. I did take it off in the end because like the sun swoops past the window and it turns into a bit like a greenhouse. But anyway, I need to render you, get yesterday's daily vlog uploaded, and then sometimes for reasons I don't understand, but I've had this camera for a long time. This camera just sets itself to silent. It just sets itself to mute. And I don't do that, so I don't know why it does it. Anyway, video all sorted. I've binged in at home, but okay, cool. No, phone's been lagging. Laura's not on her way back yet, but I'm gonna have a quick drink of water because I forgot my water bottle today, which is another thing I need to remember to put in my bag. That's on my to-do list. Tick that one off. What's been going on today? Today we got to work in my cool ass jumper. And it was a bit like it was before we got back, if you know what I mean. I think this week may be another slow week, to be honest. I'm kind of looking for things to do, and there really isn't anything to do, which is kind of annoying, and the person I normally ask isn't in. And I need that person in to confirm whether or not I can do defibrillator training. So that's like a mild pain in the bum. But otherwise I'm going through doing some refactoring and stuff. I'm currently doing quite a big task of taking out all the interfaces I had when I did my validator stuff. I gave well, not taking them out, they still exist, but not referencing them. Previously when I first did it, I had what did I have? A number of validation chains which all implement an interface which is basically validation chain and then a generic type. The problem is that like I'm using the interface to define the way that you interact with these objects, not necessarily say that there are multiple implementations for that object. So I was kind of I'm relying on integration tests to make sure that the correct implementation is being injected. So, for example, I also do the same for rules. So I have an validation rule which does which validates something generic, and validates something. God, are all the lights off? I'm getting too good at this, turning the light off, malarkey. I also have this other thing where it's like validation rule takes an object in, validates it, and spits out this other thing, which can then be used to like carry out a strategy based on that rule. So I would have one thing which is like an equal to rule, which will basically fail if it's not equal to, or whatever, like something like that anyway. And then I have one that's not equal to. But they both have the same interface. So in theory, you could go into Spring and change the wiring, and the only thing that notices are the integration tests. But since it's going to be highly unlikely, well, here's my two options then in this world. I can either keep it as it is, keep the integration tests working as is. I can get rid of the interface so that I reference the equal to rule rather than the generic interface. Because what's the likelihood of having two different implementations of the equal to rule? Or I could have I equal to validation rule. I not equal to validation rule. I same as validation rule. I less than, I greater than, etc. And I'm kind of going down using the concrete one instead, because that's kind of just what I've got to have to do, really. Which isn't too bad, really, because Java you can mock those. So I think in C# I'd go down the less than and all that kind of stuff, and then I'd actually simplify. No, because even then, like, when I say equal, the less than is a valid one, because I validate the dates are less than something in a different way than I do other things, because we use this utility class rather than something else, and that's intentional. But anyway, so that's what I'm going through at the moment. It's not very exciting, it's not very good fun. Otherwise, it's basically just a fuckload of work. What I'm also doing is, on my own project, is I am working on dealing with the processes once they are killed. And I figured out that actually I still get the results back from them. What I was doing was like killing them, and now I was just going to like create the results myself. But actually, the previous thread, which was asynchronously waiting, gets the result, which has just been killed, and pulls it back out, and then I can see like the console out and all that kind of stuff. I get an error code, but I don't get anything else. So, well, I do get everything. I get like standard output, but I don't get standard error. So I'm now trying to figure out a way of showing in test results that that result errored. I previously had a test run status, which would like do the entire status of the test run and say like this, passed, failed, timed out, etc. I've now basically decided that I need to move that into the test run thing, because they're the ones that are timing out, not the main one, and all that kind of stuff. Don't know if that makes sense. I kind of just rambled there for a little bit, sorry. Okay, I now have my what do I have? I have the ability to save this information about whether or not the tests have failed. I also spotted a bug where if all of the tests, like tests that were being skipped were being counted as passed. I don't necessarily want that. I should probably also, if you skip all of the tests, then I want it to say, do I want it to say not run or passed? A normal test runner would say passed, wouldn't it? Normal ones. XUnit would. It would just say all skipped, green. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So I have that now. What I now need to do is pull out the process of waiting for all of the processes to finish into its own thing. So I'm going to put that into the process helper instead of putting it inside the runner itself. Mainly because when I have more test runners, they're all going to kind of use the same thing, so I want to put it in a centralized place, so I don't have to do it. Also, it simplifies the unit testing of the, well, simplifies the unit testing of the test runner. And then I need to make sure everything's well tested. I then need to make sure that I am correctly populating the field in the test run. Okay. I need to make sure that the field in the test run details is correctly populated. But I can commit. I'm trying to do things in like smaller commits. I got into it, well, specifically with this, because it took me so long to like get the proof of concept working. I ended up with like a huge commit that I tried to break down. So I'm trying to do it in like smaller chunks, so my commits are shorter if I ever want to back out and roll it back. Laura's on her way back. She should be back anytime soon. But I've had a good 50 minutes of programming here. This is good stuff. It means I can chill out for a little bit with Laura, depending on what she's doing. We might be going to the gym tonight, Depends how busy it is. Obviously it's the new year, so every fucker's in the gym. So we'll have to make sure, and speaking of which, my phone battery is nearly dead. I think it's not going to be long until I have to buy a new phone. God damn it, my phone battery just cannot hack it anymore. Actually, according to this, it's less than it's supposed to be at the moment. It's 6. So we'll see. But I don't think Google's going to be very good at predicting how busy it is, given the fact it's the new year. So, anyway, commit this and get it done, and then I might just stop until later. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Told you I'd be back in the full swing of it. It is 1:45 in the morning, and I am just about to go to bed. First day back. Let's see how tired we are tomorrow. I was planning on going to bed at 12, but then I got a bit like sucked into something. Okay, so Laura came back and she wasn't feeling very well today because she took a salad to work that had like old tuna in it, which she didn't eat, but then a combination of maybe that and then also not eating made her come home and wasn't feeling great. So she then didn't finish her dinner, so I finished it. But then we were like waiting. So we were like seeing if Laura was going to be good enough for the gym, and then we checked how busy it was on the app, and it was like fucking crazy busy, like well above peak. Oh, Graham, what are you doing? You okay there, Graham? What you up to? So we didn't go to the gym. Instead, we played a little bit of Overcooked. I helped Laura do some admin stuff that she's up to at the moment, and then we watched an episode of The Crown while I was programming. Well, no, I wasn't programming at that time. I was just like, I'm not that fussed about the Crown. I think it's good, but I'm not like hooked. So I'm like doing other things at the same time. Laura then went to bed, and I stayed up a little bit to do some programming, and I've just done like a semi-significant chunk of time, from basically 11:15 to now. So nearly 2 hours worth, which is good stuff. I've been fighting through my fixing of pulling out the results and stuff. Because I've got like the proof of concept, but I'm trying to pull it out so that it's easier to test. And that's what I'm basically doing. And I've got to refactor this thing to make it like private and stuff. But I was having some difficulty before I stepped into this thing. So I was some difficulty testing how to manage the timeouts, because I'd essentially have to like create a task that lasted longer than a timeout. I was in control of that timeout, so I could make it small. And then I realised this is stupid. I'm just going to create a wrapper for the task interface, the static task class that's like static. It's task.whenAll, and then when all of them are finished, and then I can like have full control over it. And I basically did that, and I spent a good half an hour trying to figure out how to mock an array of tasks so that the tasks take longer than a certain amount of time, but then I'm able to skip out a loop so that I can get straight out as fast as possible and check the end of process time. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy. So I've gone for this instead. But yeah, it's going good. It's going well. I've got more to do tomorrow. Still working on the same thing. I have it waiting for the timeout, so now all I need to do is kill the processes. So that's my current plan of attack, ladies and gentlemen. Which is simple, because I'm basically literally just like pulling this thing out from here into here, but testing it, but like as I go. And there's one other thing I need to do as well. I'll probably end up making, it's the same thing. Like the killing of the process at the moment is like it's here, and then the helper class is here, and that's the thing that's got the killing. But I'm moving this method into the helper class because it's like core, so that I'm going to make the kill method private, and only the helper class can call the kill method. That was the other thing I had in my head. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to head off to bed because it's going to be late and I need to get some sleep. Tomorrow we are doing more or less the same. I don't think we have plans for other things, so not according to the calendar or my phone calendar, I don't believe. Nope, so it is term. It's Wednesday tomorrow, not Tuesday. Oh, that's weird. Although it doesn't feel like a Tuesday. Anyway, I'll catch you later.